Hello, Six here, notably not 6-0 HEMA, although you might be more used to me doing this kind of thing. Being approximately human, I do have some other interests as well, one of which being all things miniature. Yes, model making has always been a hobby of mine. In fact, quite an obscure reference to this can be seen in the intro of this vid. I'll be surprised if anyone gets that one. So it was no surprise when I got recommended this gem from Roborovsky, the Relay Warden, kit bashing a mech from just a phone. I watched a few minutes and thought, right, I'm nicking this idea, this looks like great fun. I did actually get permission to nick the idea. So, the challenge here is to build a little robot using only parts from the phone, some tools and some glue, no additional parts at all, only material sourced directly from the phone. Also, no paint, so any detail work had to be done by cutting and gluing parts onto other parts. To try and make sure I didn't copy it exactly, I stopped watching the video about 2 minutes in, went and sourced an old junk phone for myself, and pretty much got to it. This is the BT2500 wireless landline phone. This isn't my photo, obviously, I don't know who Richard is, but this is my photo of what we're actually working with. I chose this one because I liked some of the shapes that were on display, and some of the textures, especially on the back here, looked like they would probably make some pretty interesting parts. Here's a nice knolled out shot of all of the stuff from the handset. I didn't actually include the batteries in this shot because I didn't think I was going to use them, but they did end up coming in pretty clutch towards the end. Here is the plug, not knolled out as neatly in this photo because, well, this is the one time I ended up deviating from my tools list. I had trouble getting this thing apart and had to baton a wedge into it, which is to say I smacked it with a knife and a hammer. So yeah, I was not really in the mood when I took this photo. And last but very much not least is the base station here. So many delicious parts from this bit. The very first thing I put together was the head. The shape of it is quite a direct reference to Roborovsky's Relay Warden. Like I said, I was really inspired by this video, and there's one more part later on I think is quite a direct reference as well. I'll call that out when we see it. Sketching out the rough shape for the body, you can see the batteries coming into play almost immediately there. I thought they would be good for the legs because they're by far the heaviest individual bits, so they'd give them all a nice low center of gravity, making it nice and stable, and that bit next to them is the tray for the batteries. I thought that'd probably come in handy, being able to attach something round to something round. Some shots of the pretty much assembled body now. I wish I'd taken more because the detail I tried to put into the PCBs has been lost a bit. It's not just the existing circuitry under there. I wanted to make it a lot more visible, and I tried to arrange the shapes and separate boards and components to make them mimic human muscle structure, but it's utterly imperceptible in this state. Possibly it would have just looked better if I left the dial pad in place, but we press on. Cutting out some shapes for the limbs here and then sketching them in place. That round bit from the backpack looking like the head, but of course it's not, we know that now. Here's a sketch of the gun arm with some nice looking pieces. I struggled with a barrel for a while and ended up going with this pointy kind of assembly. You're free to imagine that it does whatever you like. Obviously it's fictional, but I like to imagine it just kind of pisses out lightning like those guns from The Matrix. Needed some panels to round out the shape of the gun. I like the look of the speaker head here and the perforations on the base plate up in the, well, you'll see what I mean on the next photo here, those bits there. Here's our other direct reference to the Relay Warden with the gun arm in place. I've stuck on a nice big cable linking it right into the backpack. I got stuck on what to do with the other arm for a little bit, but I really wanted to use the RJ11 as a hand, and I really wanted to use that nice textured piece from earlier, so we ended up going with a shield. It looked a bit plain on its own. I wanted to add some colour, but like I said before, no paint, so what I had to do was strip out the wire and custom put my own design onto the shield by bending and gluing it in place, which was a pain in the arse, let me tell you. Finally, it's the legs, playing around with some shapes for the feet and some of those panels I cut out earlier for the thighs, but with that in place and all decided, all that was left to do was glue it all together, put on some final detailing, and then show off the finished model. Thanks again to Roborovsky. I've been to watch the full video now, and if you remotely enjoyed this video, then you must go and watch his vid. It's incredible the shapes he's able to pull out and rework, and the final result is amazing. The editing style, so good. Such an entertaining video. Also, I noticed he too is a big fan of Karl Casey from White Bat Audio, whose music I have been shoving into my own vids for quite a long time, and this seems like a great space to thank him as well for providing high quality, royalty free music at absolutely no cost whatsoever. Absolute legend. Now, I was hoping to contrive this video to be exactly 6 minutes long, but it's probably good that I'm not going to be able to do that, because in my head it really sets a precedent. It's the kind of thing that I'd become obsessed with. I'd have to make every video from now on exactly 6 minutes long, and I don't want to constrain myself to doing that. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to quickly wrap up by saying how much I really enjoyed this project. I've never scratch built anything before. I really did just see Roborovsky's video and think that looks like a brilliant idea, and I really want to give it a go. And if that's something that you think that you want to do, I really advise you to try and do it yourself. You really will enjoy. Oh, hang on, we have made it to 6 minutes. I'm going to have to do the 6 minute thing off for